Welcome back to the Who Witch Where podcast, where I talk to witches about witch life, witch stories, and sometimes a little witchcraft. In this episode, Charlye explains that you'll die if you read the comments, asks, "Are we related?" and reveals a secret from her past. Now let's find out about what makes her angry about the witch community. What makes you angry and what do you love about the witch community?
Oh boy, let me do my spiel. We've talked about it a lot. I still don't have the correct words, I think, to put it into it. But I'll start with what makes me angry, because why not? I very much wish that, and this isn't anything. This isn't anything that has a following and a loyalty to it. There's so much gatekeeping. You know what I mean? There is so much gatekeeping. And here's the thing. There's a difference between saying, hey, this is a closed practice. That is not gatekeeping, right? That's a closed practice. And that's not necessarily for you, right? But I what I'm talking about is like, well, when you do a candle spell, you have to do it this way. You have to rub the oil on from top to bottom. You know what I mean? Like
the buying the tarot deck versus
the buying
being
of the
gifted a
exactly
tarot deck.
these little rules that, like, sure, I'm gonna not lie. In the beginning, it was kind of fun to follow these little, like, I had, like, my mom bought me a tarot deck, and I was like, oh, I can use a tarot deck now because someone bought it for me. But now it's like, I think a lot about people who don't have someone to do that for them, like we've been contacted before by kids, basically like a 14-year-old kid, and they're like, hey, I secretly listen to your show. Aww. And I'm in, I have books and stuff, but I have to like hide them amongst my school books. And like, if I ever was found out, like, I don't know if I would be welcome. Basically,
I'm your mom now, 14-year-old.
Yeah,
That's why they call me what they call me. I'm your mom now. You can come here.
You know what's funny is when we were out with Corey the other day, we were having he just said, "Oh, Mama Kim." And I was like, yes, it's catching on. But however, if that person was to truly kind of go with all of these rules and limitations of, you've got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. If they only have white candles, well, I can't do it. I can't do a prosperity spell because I don't have a green candle,
I guess you're poor forever then, kid.
Yeah, sorry. You can't afford that green candle. Sorry, you're going to stay that way. But like that's one end of it. But to me, the bigger problem is I like to use witch talk on TikTok as an example, because I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about.
Too.
Because there are some creators who do like witchy TikToks that are amazing. They tell you so much stuff, and they're so like open with what they have learned. But if you go to the let me just say, don't go to the comments, first of all. Please don't. You'll die if you read these comments.
Warning.
If you read the comments, that you will die. But just the anger that people feel okay with online is ridiculous to me. Somebody once said, animosity breeds.
Something, oh my God, what is bad? Something bad.
Anonymity breeds animosity. Sorry, excuse me. That's what anonymity breeds, animosity. And that is so true. I can't imagine people saying the things that I see them say to these young baby witches, if you will.
Exactly.
You would never say that to someone's face. And going to someone and saying, hey, I noticed that you used this term, or I noticed that you're using this particular herb and I happen to know that it's endangered, or you're doing something in some way that I feel like I have a little knowledge on and maybe I could pass that on to you, and saying it to them plainly and just saying it as it is
shittily
is one thing. But going to that person being like, you clearly haven't done your research. I wish all these fucking stupid people would quit because it's so trendy to be a witch right now. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, it is. Cool. Who cares? It was
good for all of us, you idiot.
Exactly. And it wasn't super trendy for a long time, but it's been trendy before and it will be trendy again. Things are cyclical like that, like that's just how it works. And, I get mad when see people saying like, oh, well, So there's more to it than just aesthetics. You just like it because of the aesthetics. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, you know what? I think we all kind of like the aesthetic of what we do. You know what I mean? That's part of it.
Yeah, we're allowed to like pretty shit.
Yeah, I'm allowed to like the things that I like. You know, my altar, I'm not going to decorate it with ugly shit because my altar is for my ancestors, and I'm not going to give them something that I look at and go, ew. Like, I want it to be pretty, so therefore I like it. So yeah, it's whatever. And you also never know, I'm ranting a little bit, excuse me. You also never know what is going on in somebody's life. You don't know how much they know. You don't know that this person that you look at and you go, oh, they're just in it for the aesthetic. They just think it's trendy. Maybe they're learning, like maybe they're like exploring this and trying to be a part of it. And like nobody wants to be shut out at the door. You know what I mean? And if you are, I want to be given a reason. There are very few people who are born into this and have a whole family to like raise them up and teach them, so it's just not fair. Nobody likes to be told that they're doing something wrong just because you're stupid. That's the main thing to me is like nobody's fucking up on purpose. You know what I mean? And if they are, they're an asshole. But like, nobody goes into something going, you know what, I'm gonna do this wrong on purpose, and I'm gonna steal things from cultures that aren't mine. I'm gonna do this on purpose. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're never gonna know how to do it right if they just leave because people yelled at you. And I've seen that a lot, like on other Facebook groups, and sometimes, very seldomly, thank you very much, but very seldomly, in our own Facebook group, sometimes there will be these hot outbreaks, where people really get hot. And you're a mod over there. Thank you for your service. But but it's like, I have before seen people just leave because of the way people treated them, and again,
what good does that do?
Nothing. Nobody has ever had their mind changed by being yelled at. Tell me one time that someone has yelled at you and belittled you and berated you and you changed your mind and went, you know what, I think you're right. Never. Probably.
They learn nothing, and they're still going to go do what they're going to do. You just don't have any control over it, and you could have changed it.
Exactly. And that's why when I see the threads where somebody says something and then there's somebody jumps in and they say, hey, just wanted to point this out, that whatever it is, you know what I mean? Whatever they think, they're just sharing their knowledge about.
It's always smudging. It's always smudging.
Yeah. That's where I was going. It's always smudging. I didn't know if that was, but it is always, somebody, because that's what I called smoke cleansing in the beginning. Too. I called it smudging. And I remember even before like the whole witchcraft thing was a thing, I heard someone else say it. And for years before the witch thing was a thing, I was like, oh, like if you take some sage and you do this, it's called, whatever. And not a lot of people know that. And it's that thing where it's like, if you're really knowledgeable about like some comic book and then somebody like walks in and they're like, I like Batman. And you're like, oh, really? You like Batman? What? Tell me his whole backstory, or, I like rap music. You're like, okay, tell me your top 3 favorite artists. Just don't be that way.
Do you like Batman or do you like the Dark Knight?
Right. So it's like, just, hey, everyone take a breath, touch grass, we're going to be okay. Be nice to people. Oh, excuse me. I hope that makes sense when all is said and done.
How long do you think you want to do the podcast? And what might make you stop doing it?
Forever. No.
Good. Yes. Yes, you will.
Can you imagine? We just keep going. This is a cool question to me because it excites me in a weird way because nothing lasts forever. Nothing is going to last forever. And even if we did continue, like, I hate to be dark about it, but like one of us is eventually going to die, and it's like, it will one day end for some reason, and the thing is I don't think I ever want the end of Waba to be final. I don't think we're ever going to just disappear. Hopefully, God, I don't know. We might, get canceled or something and go away. But like,
it's going to be like my so-called life, and I'm going to want to kill you.
Yeah. Oh God, Jesus. Well, now you've spoken it into existence. Thank you.
Great. Way to
Great.
go, me.
Yes, I'm gonna call Macy and be like, guess what Kim manifested?
Oh,
Shit.
shit.
But I it, I want to do it always. There's some truth in like me joking and being like, we're always gonna be here. But I want to evolve, and one day that might include not having a podcast aspect anymore. I don't really see why it wouldn't. I'm sure even if we change, we can still find something to talk about. But but like like you were saying, like the video aspect of it, like doing YouTube, like maybe we'll grow and evolve. And I have ideas for we have ideas for things that we want to create, and have like maybe like a little store. And I know that Macy a long time ago, and I'm going to share something that she's told me, so I hope she's chill with it, but she has to be. But she said that she had I don't know if I feel comfortable saying vision, but she had a
That's what it is.
I guess
Oh, unless you mean she like from someone else put it into her head, but you're allowed to have vision.
Somebody inceptioned her. No, she said that at one point she said it was like an older version of me and her. And we were just like we were just our full, God, I don't know how to say this and not sound stupid, but we were like our full authentic selves, and we had just been doing this for a while. And she said we were in some kind of store and we were like kind of bustling around and like setting chairs up and like getting ready to like, I guess, have a class, or I don't know. She's not like fully there on what it was either. She said, but we were just like, we were content and we were happy and we had been doing this, whether it be podcast or YouTube or like whatever. We had been doing this for a very long time. Like we were going gray, so like I'm excited about that, and what that could mean. And I'm like, hey dude, maybe we'll have like a fucking shop one day. That'll be cool.
I have those.
Do you?
Yeah, that's how I knew where I was going. Like sometimes I know where we're going to move.
That is fat. See, to me, you were talking about how like you can't, the idea of like talking to spirit, like ghosts, just doesn't like that to me. That is mine. That is so fascinating to me. That's and I don't mean crazy, but like it's crazy.
Yeah, scenes just
what a blessing.
Your head.
Oh God.
Or you just know stuff.
Has it ever been
weird?
Has it ever been like scary?
Well,
Was it bad stuff? Yeah. But it's good too sometimes, I assume.
Well, speaking of the visions, can you tell me anything that is coming up for the podcast?
I know that we are.
Oh, I thought you were going to say no.
No. Dead stop. Just don't say anything else the rest of the whole time.
Next question.
Yeah. Nope. No, we've got a few things. We got a couple of irons in fires. We want to start the experience stuff up again. I know that we are here very quickly. We're going to go to a local blueberry farm and pick some blueberries and like make a whole little video. I think it's going to be our first like actual video that we try to make. So we'll see how that goes. And I hope it sticks. I would love to put something out like at least like every 2 weeks or something. Like we just have a vlog style video that we can throw up on YouTube and just see how that evolves. But we are having our natal charts read very soon.
Yay!
And that's going to be a whole special here in a couple of weeks where we will sit down with someone who knows their shit, like is a true expert in it. And it's not just us speculating, but we've given her our information and she's looked us up and she's going to walk us through it and tell us every little bit and how we interact with each other. And then we're going to ask questions. It's going to be, it's probably going to be 2 episodes long. So I'm excited for it.
Now, I didn't put this on the list of questions because I forgot, but I haven't. If you've listened to any other episodes, I don't know if you have, but if you have, you heard me ask this, and I know you had to at least ponder it for a fraction of a second. Who are 3 people who have influenced
Yeah.
your practice?
Yeah. And I was worried about that one because
Ta-da!
I'm like, oh God, I start to panic. Well, first of all, Macy, for sure. Macy, I think, is the first person who comes to mind. Just because she still is. We're influencing each other every day. And it's hard not to. Like, we've become so close in a weird way because we've always been close, but now we're business close, you know?
I
And
love that for you guys.
yeah, I do too. And we were actually talking about it when we got together the other day. Macy said something to me one time. I was having a really, 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 really hard, dark time with like my OCD just taking over my life. And I canceled a couple of our recordings, and I think I was being very what people on the outside looking in would call flaky. And I remember I just finally like opened up to her about it. And she said some stuff to me. She was like, she said, we've always been like sisters pretty much, and now more than ever, really. She's like, but now we've got this like business part together. She said, so in a lot of ways, she's like, you and I are each other's confidants more than anybody else. Like we're each other's biggest confidants, And that like really struck me when she said that. And I was like, that's fucking true, my guy. And it's so strange to just kind of watch this develop between us because yeah, she's always been somebody that I could talk to about anything, really, truly, probably too much things I could talk to her about, and she would be like, oh yeah, I understand. But now there's this aspect of like we have to hold each other up. we have to keep going for the sake of the other one, And she's like, if you're like going through it, she's like, tell me, because A, I love you and I want to know, but B, also so we can like have a business. but like in the most like loving way possible. So it's helped me open up to somebody, like I feel, in a way that I've never done before, strangely, not and not even necessarily with like someone that you feel like, like I tell Clark stuff, but I don't go super deep into like the witchy side of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I more talk to him about like mental health stuff, right? But like with Macy, it's both, and it's constant. She does the same, I like to think that she tells me stuff too. I think that she does. but however, outside of Mace, my mother would be massive presence. Such a witch. Because again, she is such a witch and never identified as one. I think she does now, though, since the podcast. I think that's a label she's taken and slapped on herself, and I love it. But just growing up surrounded by things like that, I don't think other people were surrounded by, like just bottles and bottles and bottles of different essential oils, and like growing her own herbs. And she had books on like healing, how to heal like through hands and energetic healing, and just shit that I don't think other people had. And I remember that like she told me once, she was like, okay, your left hand draws energy and your right hand pushes energy. And I've always kept that in the back of my mind, and it's still how I operate on a large level. And she really just set me up to like believe anything metaphysical. So like through my whole life, when someone said something, I would be like, oh, I think my mom knows about that, And slowly I've just been like, my mom, wait, hold on, is my mom the biggest witch I know? Like, so I would say her for sure. And then also it's hard to like go to just 3 because I want to say my dad as well. Can I lump my parents in as a number 2? I'll just do that. I cheat a little bit. My dad too, for sure, because my dad is definitely he's more on the like, whereas my mom is a physical witch, like she's very much hands in the earth, oils, herbs, this kind of stuff. My dad has the whimsy and the love of magic, and the love of he's the one who instilled my love of fantasy in any way, Lord of the Rings, video games, whatever, you know, he's the one that encouraged, we would go out and play in the woods, you know, and I think I very much developed a love for being outside and a love for being in the woods through my dad. And, you know, he would, because he is such a fantasy nerd, you know, he would say things like, I'm calling on the elements, you know, and but it like planted that seed, you know. And it also made me feel really comfortable in saying, hey, this is I'm doing a podcast about this shit, you know, and this is what I am now, you know. And the fact that when I said that to him, and I was kind of talking to my mom about it, and I was very, very surface level saying like, okay, well, here's what a Wiccan is, here's what a witch is, here's what a pagan is, and here's like the Venn diagram of all of that information. It's like my dad was like, he would chime in and say things every once in a while that I didn't know he knew, you know, and it's a kind of realize that there's this knowledge that was there that we just never touched on because we never talked about it, and now we do, you know. That's pretty cool. And then lastly, I gotta say my grandma on my dad's side, the one that I share with Macy, because for a lot of the same reasons. She was always into crafting things, and a lot of that kind of is this witchcraft question mark, like Appalachian folk kind of stuff, I feel like would come from her. And of course she's into the genealogy. You give this woman your name, not even your last name. You just give her your first initial, and she'll come back in like 12 hours and she'll know every ancestor you've ever had. She's amazing at it. And there's something very cool about that to me, to just kind of, you know, learn what my ancestors that I talk to on a daily basis, you know, through spirit and whatnot, like what they believed and what they practiced and what they did. And to me, that there's a lot of witchiness in like knowing my ancestors. And I understand that it's not like that for everybody, because not everybody works with ancestors, you know, but I do. And because she's so good at that, and because I can sit down and, as an adult, I never really appreciated it as a child, but as an adult, to sit down and listen to her talk about, oh, so-and-so grew up here, and then they came to Texas and, you know, 17, whatever, or whatever. And I could just listen to her talk about that for days and days and days and days. And I for some reason, I just feel really connected with ancestor through my grandmother. And she's, of course, also the one that relayed the story of Mamaw Minnie down to us. And so for those reasons, that's why I cheated and picked 4 people.
That's so neat.
Yeah, she's a trip. She is a trip in the best way. I just don't know how somebody can remember that many people and that many names and their life stories. And she's really somebody who made me interested in individual stories of humans. You know, like we've talked on Spooky Sods before about how you hear about all these crazy things that happen, you're right, but if you zoom in to a state, to a town, to a person, everyone's story is interesting. Everyone's story is unique. Like there is no such thing. I don't think there is such thing as a boring person. Because
that's why this podcast exists.
You know, and to just I don't know. I could listen to people's story. I'm ranting a little bit. I apologize, but I could just listen to people tell their life stories. I could just listen to that forever and still be fascinated. Ugh.
Where in Appalachia are your people from?
I'm not sure. I actually need to.
Maybe we're cousins.
Maybe so, for real. Should we do like an ancestry test? Like we need to do the swabs and see if we've got the green leaf or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised. I think, you know, I'm not sure. I want to say like all over in like the lower part of the range. Southern
coastal?
Appalachia. I don't think coastal. I think it was more like west. From recent ancestry that I've looked into, it was like Carolinas, maybe. Is that part of it? I don't know. I'm really not as educated as I should be. I just know from that area. I should call my grandma.
Honestly, me neither, because I know Virginia, probably West Virginia, maybe
I want to say Virginia. I want to really, really say Virginia, and that's like the last person that before they came over to Texas is like
That's
before
where I'm
Texas, it was Virginia.
from.
And see, and that's the thing. That's why I was wary of saying that, because I don't want to feel like I'm just saying that because I know that about you and I'm trying to make us cousins so hard. But I
Oh,
think
we
so.
just are. We
I think,
just
yeah,
are.
I'll take it. All right.
Please tell me a story about your first successful spell that made you think, holy shit, I am actually doing a thing.
Let me think.
Or something that was a total clusterfuck.
Well, okay, hold on. I've got many of those. Okay, it's a little sensitive, I think. Not sensitive. And I'm not going to say that I went I'm not going to say that I went like gray. This is nowhere near Macy's like Baba Yaga story, but like there was an influence that was causing negativity in my personal life and some of the personal lives of people that I am close to and I love very much. And it was coming from a person, and I got very defensive, I think. It was the first time that I didn't just walk my house and, flick whatever concoction I had made up, and I was protecting on a very spiritual level. This was the first time I was dealing with like a human being. And I just opened up my books and I was like, what do I do in this situation? So I did serious, big time, like warding for the first time. And I walked my property with like, I don't even remember what I used. I know like cayenne pepper was a part of it, and I kind of very plainly spoke, I don't want this person coming here, and I worked big time with like visualization. And okay, I, not really fully knowing what was up, I made a dinner that night, being at that time pretty like just fully wanted to be a kitchen witch. Like that was my label, and I had done quite a bit of research on like I don't know how to say this, like root vegetable, I guess, like like a poppet almost out of a potato,
Yeah.
and then you could, it's like make the likeness of, and then if you do certain things and you cook it and then you consume the food, like it's the protection from that person, the whole spiel, right? And I did it, and I remember something happened and that person did not come over when they had planned to. And that made me go, oh shit. But it also made me wake up in the middle of the night, cold sweats, going, what did I do? Is this, am I going, is this devil? What am I doing? Like, I really freaked out about it. I was like, am I toying with things I shouldn't be toying with? Like, I carved someone's likeness into a potato and ate it. Like, am I going to hell? And it really freaked me out. So on one hand, it made me go, oh yeah, this is a thing. But on the other hand, it made me go, I need to be careful. So it's a story that still makes me a little itchy to this day.
What's the funniest thing that ever happened? Witch-wise?
This is not my story. It's Macy's, and I hope she doesn't mind, but I think of it and I laugh still. It was, and it's very in line with mine, of the kind of the first experience you have, and like the first time you really step out of your comfort zone and try something. But she said she had never really, with purpose, cleansed her house, energetically. So she was going through her house and doing her first, like, baddies leave, baddies aren't welcome, only good things here kind of cleansing. And she was doing it, like clockwise and all this, all this stuff that you do. And she said that for no reason, like a heavy ass backpack just like fell on the floor. And she said she just went and like panicked about it for like 3 days. And it was just like, was that a sign? Should I not be doing this? Oh my God, what knocked over that? Was it a devil? I'll think about that sometimes and it cracks me up, because like to go from that level of like being afraid and not knowing and not understanding and being basically not owning your own power, really, to say, get out. and that things will get out, and to just be scared, and to, especially with like the religion that is just ingrained into you from a young age, especially where we live, and it combats that, and the devil and witchcraft and like just the fear. Like, I'll think about it and I just die laughing, because now she's the person wrapping people up and throwing them into a cow pasture. And it's just the complete 180 that we've taken, on stuff like that. And now I'm like, yeah, I'd do that again any day of the week.
Is there anything that you hoped to talk about that I didn't bring up?
Immediately a story pops from like yesterday when I was with Macy, pops into my head, and I just briefly want to tell it because I think it's funny, and it might totally be a you had to be there moment, but we were so giggly, and because we were Marcoing you, just being giggly, and you were like, are you drunk? And we weren't, like, weirdly enough, we were just so happy, I think, to just be hanging out together. And we had gone to the store and got a bunch of snacks, like we
that
do.
Pie looked
I was gonna say, that fucking pie. Macy got this chocolate pie, but we didn't have any utensils. We get back to the room, we don't have any utensils. And I'm like, maybe we could go to the front desk and see if but we're so lazy. We're just like already slob people getting ready to be even worse. We're like chowing down on chips, and we've got this pie, and we're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna eat it with my hands.
Good.
So we break into this pie. And we just eat it like a slice of pizza, we're just having this, whatever. So we put it in the fridge to, coagulate and get cold. And we're watching TV and to just, get tired. And we're watching all kinds of stupid shit. Like, we found out there's competitive cornhole on ESPN or whatever. What? Yeah. Oh, and the funniest thing is everyone is wearing their sponsor shirts, and they're sponsored by Bush Beans. So it's great. We had quite a time with that. And then we watched some WWE wrestling, which we haven't done since we were children. So that was a good time. But all in all, some hours pass, and we finally were like getting to where we want some, she wants some pie. And she picks up her water bottle, I think, and she's like, I'm going to go put this in the fridge. So I'm thinking she's going to go to the fridge, put her and come back, and it'll be like 2 seconds, right? So we're waiting for the show to come back, and it comes back, and I say, hey, the show's back on, or whatever. And I realize she's been gone for minutes. And I said, what are you doing? And she's over, the little mini fridges they have in hotels. She's over on all fours. She says, I'm on all fours. She says, I'm eating the pie on all fours with my hands out of the fridge like a dog. It was so stupid. It was so stupid.
Oh no.
Anyway, I'm
those are my favorites.
Yeah. It was sometimes she's the funniest person because she can be very, how do I say, Aquarian. She can be very, and you just wouldn't think that she would do some of the shit she does, but she will definitely eat a pie with her hands on all fours. Okay.
I just keep picturing it.
Yeah, and the thing is I didn't see her, but I heard the laugh that Macy can only produce when something really tickles her. And she also does this thing where if something really, really, really tickles her or really scares her or surprises her, it's a strong emotion. If she's having a strong emotion, her eyes will sort of look different directions. So she's coming over the bed and she's just doubled over in laughter, hands covered in chocolate pie.
Yum.
And she looks up at me, eyes looking completely different directions.
Day of my life.
It's a mental image that has burned itself into my brain. I'll never forget it. Oh, woof.
Who do you think I should have on the show?
I'm cheating when I say this. But, well, I have 2 answers, and they're both a little cheaty. One is because I've heard whispers. I think there might, but the first person would be official tweeter Corey B.
heard
I
whispers. I just flat out said it aloud just now.
I know. I don't know what you're gonna put on though. I don't know what's gonna make it. But yeah, I would be very much interested to hear, and especially because he's from where he's from. There's just a lot of cool shit that goes down. Or I say cool, but it's also extremely scary. But I just want to hear his stories and like his I don't know, he's an interesting cat. And the other one, this is cheaty, but I would love for you to sit down and talk with Ken. I would listen to that.
Go.
I would listen to that. Yeah. Can I do that? Am I allowed to say that?
No. You're fired again.
I think that would be
I never even thought of that.
Hey.
Huh. Because I don't consider him to be a witch.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's why I'm cheating a
I'll have
little
to
bit.
ask him.
But I think he could very well. I think it'd be interesting to hear like a non-witch's take on the witch life.
He may consider himself a witch. I've never asked him
You
that.
see, you never
Well,
know.
shit. If I'm ever short one week, I'll be like, come here.
Hey. I gotta put an episode out in 8 hours. Come here.
No ums, or I swear to God.
Yeah. I'm not editing this out. You better do it right. We've had episodes like that where before we hit record, we go, we don't have time to record. I'm not in the headspace for it. And we're just like, we're like, don't you fuck, I won't fuck up if you don't fuck up. And we always do.
Okay. I know you listen to Ear Biscuits.
Yes.
Hit me with a wreck.
Oh shit. Oh my God. Hold on. I gotta get prepared. Oh no. Forgive me while I blink and think for a moment. Can this be anything, or
anything?
You've made it harder for me.
The last two questions are not witchcraft specific. They are anything at all. Okay. And there's one more coming, so.
Okay, all right. I don't know why I'm struggling so hard. I feel like at my core I'm a boring person. And I'm like,
you still like snacks and podcasts and books and music and songs.
I do. Well, see, here's where I'm thinking. Like here's where my head goes. My head goes, okay, what have I been into recently? And I'm like,
I don't do anything.
Can I talk about self-help book I'm reading recently?
Yes.
Like
I don't want to give away my secrets.
Yeah. I don't want everyone to know how screwed up I am. You know what? I guess I would say that I would like to recommend shut up. What is it called? Okay, let's go with The Sunset Tree by the Mountain Goats, because I'm about to go see them in concert, and it is my first outing. And if you're into deeply emotional music, that's kind of been getting me through the past couple of days. The Sunset Tree.
Yay!
And zebra cakes.
Can
I give a shout out to zebra cakes?
You can give a shout out to Little Debbie as a damn hole.
What is it? Large Deborah.
Except for those peanut butter wafer things. Not those.
What?
I won't have it.
Are the ones that are shaped like a peanut?
No, they are shaped like wafers dipped in chocolate.
Oh, Nutter Butters or whatever?
I don't know.
I'm going to
boring.
come to your house. I'm going to force feed them to you.
Let me be
until
clear.
You like
I will eat them. It's not like I'm not going to eat it if you hand it to me.
Yeah.
But that's not my go-to.
Same with me and like cosmic brownies. Like,
oh my God.
Them. I get the appeal.
Oh, well, those are the ones with the colors.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I'll take it. But if you give me a zebra cake, I will.
Really?
That's my thing, man. That's like my...
For me, it's Star Crunch and Choco Gels.
Choco Gel? Excuse me?
They call them something else now.
Is it gel? Like a jellified chocolate?
Oh.
I'm going to hork.
Hell?
What are you talking about?
No, they call it something else now. It's white whoopie pie. Is that what they're called?
Pies?
It's not that, but think of the shape of that cake. It's a sandwich that's yellow cake, and then cream in the middle, and then strawberry gel in the middle, and it's dipped in chocolate. I don't remember what they're called. They call them
Yeah, I
something
don't know
else
the
now.
name, but I know the, ooh, that sounds
But
good.
they
I'm
called them
hungry.
Choco Gels when I was growing up. Me too.
This is why, like, little insider bit, this is why me and Macy's podcast and whatever always end with us talking about food, is because y'all don't know, but we've been recording for 3 hours. So we're starving.
Okay, last thing.
Yes.
Tell me a story that you love to tell people. It doesn't matter what it's about.
I know a few. I've had very bad luck with vehicles,
Ooh,
and
okay.
just accidentally, in some way or another, destroying a vehicle.
Oh.
And this one might get in trouble if my mom listens to this, because I don't think I ever told her. I wouldn't say that I'm an overly angry person. I wouldn't say that I have like actual like road rage, but the maddest you will ever see me is in a car, right? So I'm 16, I guess, right? And my dad has gotten me a car, that it was like it God, I don't remember. 40 million year old car, right? And it's in okay condition that he got through like a friend of a friend. It was a big deal, right? Because we're not just like super well off to give, kids cars for
Yeah.
their first time, and I lived in a place that a lot of people, when they turn 16, this is what you would get a truck, like a new truck for your birthday. Especially like dudes, they'd get like a big truck, and then a girl, like a chick, she would get like a what are
Honda
this? Yeah, like a cute little, or like
CRX.
a bug, like a
Oh,
little
yeah.
just one of those little things, and that wasn't us and what we did. And so I get this car and I'm so pumped about it. And I had just got my license and I go to see my boyfriend. And I remember we're in the car and I'm looking and we're looking around and just at stuff driving at night. It's our first taste of freedom. And he goes, "Can you please look at the road? You're making me nervous because you're looking all over the place." And I remember I looked at him and I was going to try to be funny and like look at him like a little longer than I should have and been like, "Oh, what, are you scared?" But the thing is, there was a pile of concrete blocks in the road. I mean, for no reason, just dumped off a truck or something. And it was just the perfect size. I didn't hit it with my wheels, but I like turned and I gave him this like sassy look, like, "I'll do what I want. Don't tell me what to do. I'm driving the car." And you feel tons of stones just rip out the bottom of my car. We like pulled over, we're checking on things, and I take them home. And to the end of that car's life, it made this noise in the background. But I never told anybody. I never told my parents because they just spent money on it. And I never told anybody that, so I might get in trouble. The other one I definitely will get in trouble for is I was in my mom's car and I was driving to see a friend, and she had a little tiny crack on her windshield, right? Just a little tiny one, the ones that don't really bother you. They're like going down the left side. And I get stuck on this country road. If you've ever driven little country roads, sometimes you'll get stuck behind a tractor.
Yep.
And they go 5 miles an hour. And I can't get around this dude. And I'm just sitting there and I'm late. I'm like going to a party. I'm trying to have fun. And I'm like cussing this guy. I'm just, "Get the fuck out of it," because I'm so cool. And I'm, 17 or whatever. And I get to the point where I'm so mad. And this taught me a lesson to like not be this person. Don't lash out physically when you're angry. Like I got a big, what we call here, Jesus whoopings, where you do something and then you immediately get slapped down for it. I like took my fist and very lightly, but still kind of firmly and angrily, I like knocked on the front, like, "Come on, dude." And the whole like windshield just cracked like a spider web.
Oh.
This is my mom's car. And I saw it and I was like, "Oh shit." And then as I'm driving, I see the reflection of the light hit, how it'll hit the crack.
No.
And I see just the extent of it. So I'm like, "Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home. I'm going to park my mom's car. I'm going to go to bed. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not saying a thing." And then the next morning, I'm such a little shit. I was like, "Mom, I was in your car last night and like under some of the streetlights, it looked like that crack on your windshield grew. What happened?" I realize now that I gaslit my own mother into not because I didn't want to be in trouble. And yes, I know that this is a terrible, terrible story. I was a shitty teenager, but I got away with it. And she was like, oh, damn it. She wasn't that upset about it. It was all right, But looking back, I'm just like, I need to apologize to my mother. That was actual manipulation.
Realistically, though, you didn't do that by tapping on the windshield. You did lie, but
I did lie. Oh, I
break it.
absolutely lied. I absolutely lied. And the thing is I don't like lying to family or people that I know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one of those things that I've lived with for a long time. And I'm like, oh, shit. I love telling stories. I don't know if you've ever done that thing, like you meet someone that you're never going to see again. So you might like embellish. You might like embellish the truth a little bit. Or like when we went to Chicago, I know there were times where I was like kind of playing up my accent a little bit, because I knew I was far away from Texas and, just that kind of thing. But I don't do it to friends and family. So that is really, it stuck with me. All my stories feel like cautionary tales because there's always a lesson. Oh, man. I feel good. I got that off my chest.
Well, good. I'm gonna email this to your mom.
I probably it's probably good. It's probably the best way that she could hear it.
Yeah, I mean, you're showing remorse.
Yeah. And look, you're here. And so now you're sharing this. You're officially enabling me.
So well, good.
She's
Great.
mad at you too now.
Thanks. I'm sorry, Mom. Well, thank you for coming on the show and for telling stories with me.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to come and to get some things off my chest today. I feel like I'm going to take this whole episode and play it for my therapist.
It's going to be 2 episodes, dude. We're on an hour just on this part.
Can I just say that is like me and Macy talk about this all the time. We're like, how are we so dumb? Because like we saw that you cut the episodes into 2 parts. I was like, why don't we do that? Why do we put out 4-hour episodes sometimes?
I like it.
And we just cut it into 2. Like that is just a smart thing. We're like, why does Kim have to tell us how to do things? We're grown ass adults.
Are we? Am I?
I never feel like it. I've never felt grown. I don't think you ever do. We're like, how are we so dumb? Because like we saw that you cut the episodes into 2 parts. I was like, why don't we do that? Why do we put out 4-hour episodes sometimes?
I like it.
And we just cut it into 2. Like that is just a smart thing. We're like, why does Kim have to tell us how to do things? We're grown ass adults.
Are we? Am I?
I never feel like it. I've never felt grown. I don't think you ever do.
I don't.
No. That's the biggest scam. That's the biggest scam of life is like you're a kid and you think grown-ups have their shit together, but nobody does. Everyone's pretending. It's all a scam, man.
And being a kid was so great.
Can we talk about
some parts of it?
Being a kid. I remember being a kid and being like, I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to drive. I can't wait to do this. And now all I want to do is go play in the mud and not have bills.
Yeah. I don't want to go to work.
Yeah.
I don't want
would like to not.
Fuck job. Never job. I don't want to drive and I don't want job.
No job, no drive. Just chicken nuggets and TV, please.
Yeah. I want to make shit and fuck off.
I want to do crafts, not have trauma. That'll be great.
Okay.
All right.
It was good to talk to you.
It was great to talk to you voice to voice for the first time ever. Thank you for having me on. This was seriously such an honor. I'm very glad when you start. I've been so glad anytime you've started anything, like it just like the YouTube channel and the podcast and stuff. So when you asked us to be on, I was like, oh shit, dude. So Yay. Thank you. It's very cool.
Okay, well, bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much to both halves of the Witch Bitch Amateur Hour. Charlye and Macy are just the most gracious, good-hearted people I've talked to in a long time. And if you're a witch and enjoy laughter and slumber party vibes, you owe it to yourself to go listen to their podcast. Again, that is witchbitchamateurhour.com, Instagram at witchbitchamateurhour, Twitter at bitchhour. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/witchamateurhour. And you can join their Patreon and get all kinds of sweet bonuses like extra podcasts, blogs, videos, and spells at patreon.com/WBAH podcast. I am unbelievably excited that I get to meet Charlye and Macy and others in person at a spiritual gathering called Anahata's Purpose in Pennsylvania in September. If you're going and are interested in being on the podcast, come with the story ready because I'm going to be recording single stories from event goers who want to share. Tickets are limited to 400 people, so be sure to go get your tickets soon. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Who Witch Where podcast. You can find me all around the internet on Instagram at WhoWitchWherePod, Twitter at WherePod, Facebook at facebook.com/WhoWitchWherePodcast, and at your favorite podcast service. Want to help the podcast grow? Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. You just might hear your review read at the end of the next episode. If you'd like to recommend someone for the podcast, like to be on it yourself, or if you'd like to advertise on the podcast, send an email to whowitchwherepod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the moon changes.